I slipped off my chair at least 7 times during that workshop. I lost my freaking mind. I realized I knew nothing about women. My brain literally exploded. My wife said I came home, it was white. And I was upset because what I realized I didn't know, which is nothing about women. We know you're different, but the way you operate, why you take things personally, how come your feelings kind of drive everything? Like, we kind of know this without really understanding. Oh my goodness. So, because what happened is I realized I knew nothing about women, which then meant I know nothing about my wife.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Nourished Inside Out. I'm here with André Paradis today. He is a relationship coach and expert. Thank you so much for joining us today, André.
Absolutely. My pleasure. I love these things.
Do you mind telling us a little bit about your background and how you became to specialize in relationships?
Oh, geez. Okay, sure. I tell that story all the time. I get bored with myself. Let's put it this way. In a nutshell, at the age of 5, I concluded, per the circumstances in my house, right, that I was born in the wrong family. Explain it to me. 5 years old, right, when my thought matched with the feelings, when they came together, and at 5 years old, when we come online for kids, because before that, you're all feelings. There's no thoughts, there's no thinking, there's no words in your head because you don't have language yet. Well, by 5, after a couple of years of language, we start thinking for ourselves. And so we come online typically around 5 years old. Like, you're aware of your surroundings, what's going on around you, how you feel, right? You can think about it. So when mine came together, 5 years old, I realized, wow, something went really wrong here. I don't know how or why, but these are not my people. I don't belong here. They don't get me. I'm not part of. I can't gel. 5 years old. It was insane. So what happened in that moment is, it was terrifying, but it's sort of like, okay, right? But so internally, my awareness kind of turned outward. Like, my radar kind of came out this way because I want to understand how this is possible. So I'm watching the world, my family, right? And trying to understand how that's possible. As soon as I got to school, it was the same thing. I just watched everyone. It was, and with that, I became fascinated with the human condition. Because it's fascinating, right? How this person turns out like this one like this one like this. We're all humans, but this array of personalities and traits, and how do we get to be like this or like that? So that was my entire childhood. I was lucky enough to always had a friend. So I wasn't a complete weirdo, but I was the kid in the corner watching. Just watching people. And interesting thing about that is, after a while, and we all have that ability, but after a while, when you fine tune, like, only on people, their energy, you can actually feel what they're going through. You can actually feel what's going on inside of them. You can feel their anxiety or stress, or it's interesting. Anyway, so that was my entire childhood. At the age of 23, I started taking personal development because I was rather confused with who I was. Why, if I'm not supposed to be here, why am I here? And I have to say that I didn't think I was going to be here long. Like, I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to be here. This is the message in my head. I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but it's kind of weird and pointless. Anyway, at 23, I'm still struggling. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want to be. I was dancing professionally at the time, but I hadn't hit the success. So it was a way for me to stay afloat, because dancing kind of lifts your spirit, and it just made me want to get up the next day just to experience a little joy, because I was a sad kid. So personal development, just trying to find out, who I am, when I'm made of, what's possible, where I could go. I'm missing all the tools. So I had to go and seek them out. So fast forward, there's 3 phases to my life, but fast forward to 2006, I find myself in a workshop, of course, because I'm a workshop head. I was always in the damn workshop. I mean, up north, I had a brick and mortar car business in Los Angeles here, and I'd taken it as far as I could with my knowledge as far as productivity. So I go, of course, in a 3-day workshop in Northern California, and raising the roof, and how do you build that. So I'm a student of life. I've always been. Coming back from that workshop, 3 days in San Jose, on the flight back, I'm sitting in the same row. That's like 3 and 3. I'm sitting in the same row with this couple that I met doing the workshop. And out of 200 people, I thought, interestingly random that we're sitting together. Isn't that nice? Isn't that weird? Isn't that cool? This is before I realized that I thought life was random. This was the last time that I thought that, because my life has been a linear lining up of events that got me to here. But that one was the last one, the pivoting moment, just randomly sitting on the plane. The girl says to me, the lady says to me, "What are you doing next weekend?" And I go, "Next weekend, I'm free." Why? She goes, "You want to come to a workshop? It's on me." I'm like, "Absolutely. Sure." Because I'm that kind of guy. I agree before I even know what it is, because I want to learn something, because I want to learn everything. That's part of when you're lost, you just want to grasp at everything, right? And it became a personality trait. Then I asked her, it's like, "So what's the workshop about? Like, what is it?" After I said yes, she says, "Oh, it's called Understanding Women." Really? Now I have to say, when I tell the story, my friends always go into, "Dude, there's no such thing. You can't make it. They don't even know, right? Themselves, understanding women." That was my reaction. My reaction, because I'm an artist. I look like this. What I mean by that is I'm kind of like my old man. I've always been out of like those circumstances. And I was attracted somehow. I understand now how it would happen, but at the time, all I knew is I was always attracted sweet, sweet women. You meet my wife, you go, "Oh my God." All my friends like, "Dude, right? Is something wrong with her? Because she's so lovely." And you, that's my friends. Like, my reaction was not, "Are you going to teach me?" It's more like, "Oh God, like I got this." No arrogance, just I didn't do the crazy shit my friends did with their girlfriends screaming, yelling. I attracted sweet women. It was easy. Like one after the other. That was my pattern. I thought it was me. But if you'd asked me, how come you attract my artistic personality, I'm easygoing, which I am, but that's all I got. Anyway, so Saturday morning, driving to LAX International Airport in a big hotel, kind of wanted to sleep in, but I said I was going to go. So I keep my word. I always have. So I'm driving to the airport, 45 minutes on Saturday morning when I should be sleeping. And I walk in there. I thought it was going to be cute. Understanding women, be sweet, be kind, don't yell, but I thought it was going to be cute. And when I walked in the space, it was 400 people in there. And it was like this instant, like, "Oh, not cute. There's something going on here. There's something big here." So I sat down. The funny thing is this, in a workshop called Understanding Women, there was 300 women and 100 men. And I remember thinking, what are the women doing here? If you had a workshop called Understanding Men, there would be not one dude in there, because why would I be in a workshop to talk, right? So my first thing is but it was clever because they planned it, right? So they end up sitting, all of us men, surrounded with women. So in a big ballroom, all the chairs, right, were surrounded, they sit the women around the man. All I can tell you is this dude who thought, "I got this." I slipped off my chair at least 7 times during that workshop. I lost my freaking mind. I realized I knew nothing about women. My brain literally exploded. My wife said I came home, I was white. And I was upset because what I realized I didn't know, which is nothing about women. We know you're different, but the way you operate, why you think things personally, how come your feelings kind of drive everything? Like we kind of know this without really understanding. So, because what happened is I realized I knew nothing about women, which then meant I know nothing about my wife. Hello, right? And at the time, we have 2 little kids. We're together like 8 or 9 years. We're not looking for any of this. We're doing great. I know nothing about her. Well, this is a liability. And you have to understand I have 4 siblings, and all of them are separated, divorced twice and 3 times. I have my family. I have my wife. I have my babies. I have my life in order in place. It's beautiful. So I'm not going to be like, my first reaction was like, I refuse to be like a statistic because I didn't know. Then I didn't know. I didn't know anything about a girl. I didn't like, so to me, that was insane. So I was upset. I was like flabbergasted, especially some of the stuff that I learned and the way that we hurt your feelings all the time with her, and we don't mean to. And I never thought I hurt my wife's feeling because I love her. I never want her to be upset or hurt or bent out of shape with me. And she's not the type of woman to attack, right? And when she's hurt, she goes sad. Like I lose her. Like she's got big brown eyes, and she just kind of, the veil comes over, and she becomes deflated. But I have to tell you, I never thought it was me because I have no intention of hurting your feelings. Like never, ever. Why would I? That's crazy. Why would I do this? Right. So, but what I understood, one of the first, when I stepped off my chair, to a woman, if getting their feelings hurt, it's so obvious. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you didn't say that because you get hurt her feelings by something you don't say. What? How the? I didn't do anything. Well, you should have. Something I do, something I don't do. Wait. This is crazy. What are you talking about? And then we talked to the ladies around us. That's how they had it set up. And they're like, yeah, that's what we do. One of the reasons I was really upset, when I got home is that women think that when we hurt their feelings, we actually know what we're doing because it's so obvious to you. Like you don't say that, so you do say, right? Like, it's so obvious with the offenses, right? We have no clue, but you think we do because it's so obvious. So he knows what he's doing. He chose to do it. Thus, he's doing it on purpose. That's what freaked me out, though, because how long can a woman be with a man who she thinks is hurting her on purpose? Like, how long can it last? So it explains the divorce rate, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about this. So to me, that was wildly inappropriate for me. So that's what I went crazy, and that was the beginning of my research. So after that workshop and kind of waking up to the liability that I didn't want, I took all their workshops. I think they had 11 workshops in person. I took all of them, paid for everything. And then when you're done the workshop, you could always come back and assist for free, just to be in the room, to assist, to help, right? To support for free. And every weekend, it was in the damn workshop because every teacher taught it differently because the questions would come out differently. The more I learned, the more I realized there's more to learn. And my brain just kept wanting all of it. I kept wanting all of it. It's just again, and I did this for us. It was just for me and my wife. It was just for our family. It wasn't for any other purpose. I was always a teacher and an entertainer, but this is just me learning. What happened is within a minute, I became on track to be one of the workshop leaders because I'm a teacher, right? And that was the beginning of my career doing relationship coaching. I was with that company for about a year, and then there was too much politics for comfort for me. I kept researching Dr. John Gray, Mars and Venus, incredible stuff. His work for the past 10 years all about the chemistry of our bodies that makes us behave differently because our brain is soaked in different chemistries. Men and women, totally different chemistry, act differently, feel differently, behave differently, motivated by different things, processes, feelings. We're completely different, not the same. Esther Perel was a French therapist in New York City. At the time, she was an unknown. She's quite famous now about the intimacy, the dance of intimacy with coupledom. How do you maintain and sustain it, and why people cheat? Like, fantastic work. Esther Perel. There was Shanti Ferhan in the South that teaches all about love and respect. That's, again, another level of understanding man and women dynamic and operating systems that we're not aware of. And then lastly, Dr. Pat Allen here in Los Angeles. I was in a room with 3 or 4 other people for 3.5 years with Dr. Pat. She's a family child marriage therapist for 46 years at the time. And Louis taught me everything that she's learned in 46 years of her career. So I have this cocktail of information. I stand on the shoulders of masters in different fields, anthropology, psychology, chemistry. From that place, I still research today. You see that I'm constantly researching. I was doing this morning earlier again. I have file after file after file because there's so much. There's always something to learn. The cocktail of information that I have, my work, their research, their studies, my research, my studies, this whole cocktail. 2009, I started Project Equinox, which is my relationship coaching business. Here we are, almost 15 years later, and my job is to help alleviate the pain and confusion in relationships between men and women. However, it's also the same with men, and women, which is interesting. The relationships that last long term, whether they're traditional or different orientation, the ones who succeed long term all do the same thing. Magic, right? So understanding that men and women have a lot of differences that causes chaos when you have the same gender. How come these people succeed? How come these people fight each other to death, right? And when we understood, when you take out the masculine and feminine misunderstandings. There are two males together, two females together. The ones who succeed and inherently, seemingly know exactly what to do. There's a small percentage of us who can do relationships somehow, have an instinct about it. The rest have to learn. The rest of us have to learn. And what's in the culture right now, it's so upside down, masculine women, feminine men. That doesn't work. It's good for money and careers, but not for relationships. So that's my job, is to kind of dismantle and recalibrate what naturally works better in a modern way.
Thank you for sharing all of that. It's really helpful to see where you started to where you are now, because you mentioned that you were a dancer and you feeling lost and you just were attending workshop after workshop. Well, that was me when I was 18 as well. I was a dancer and I felt lost because I think a lot of times in those kinds of industries, we are what other people tell us we are. You want to be the next best thing, the next best dancer, you have to be XYZ. And that doesn't really give us the opportunity to explore ourselves and who we are. And I was same thing like you, going to workshop after workshop, just trying to figure out life. And I think that's really profound how you got into it, because everything does happen for a reason. If you weren't feeling lost in those times, then you wouldn't have ended up in that workshop called Understanding Women. From what you've learned, how can people build healthy and fulfilling long-term love relationships?
I'm going to say something kind of weird, but everything that's in our culture right now will keep you from getting in healthy long-term relationships. 50-50 doesn't work in love relationship. It works for business and money. Equalizing the playing field makes complete sense on paper. We soften the men and empower the women, thinking, oh, we kind of recalibrated the whole on paper. It looks amazing. I could see how that would be like, yeah, let's do that. And it works for business and money. In relationship, it's a kiss of death. And so in a time where in our culture, we open all the channels, we have all the freedom, women can do whatever the hell they want, right? Like they always have, honestly. But now it's really like, whatever. We don't even judge women out of having kids out of wedlock. Good, bad? I'm not sure if that's good or bad. There's something about somewhere in the middle, right? My point is, with all the options and all the choices, I'm the king of statistics, women in our culture right now, the past 20 years or more, unhappy that they've been an entire human recorded history. How can that be? You have all the choices. Nothing can stop you. There's nothing in place to stop you, because we turn the script upside down. Women to the race to be masculine, that doesn't turn out to be good for most of them. And men that are softened and don't man up or are weak in the world don't make women feel safe. Women reject those guys. On some level, they even reject themselves. That's what's not working. Out there, equality 50-50, patriarchy is the enemy. Not from this perspective. I'm not talking about going back to the 50s. That's ridiculous, because often I get accused of that. Should we just dumb it down for you guys? I'm like, that's not what I said. That's disrespectful. What I'm saying is a modern way to do what works best. If we have gay couples doing it, right, that's a modern way of doing relationship. That's what I'm teaching. That's what I'm up to. It requires an awareness of how relationships work, the dynamic, the tools that you need in order to negotiate your wants and needs respectfully, because that's what we collide typically. How do you stay rational as opposed to emotional and then start a fight and trying to get on top of each other? That doesn't work. So there's all these things that, even in getting to know the person that you want to attach to for a long time, there's a whole system of things that you have to check and questions to ask and things to explore before you fall in love and realize 9 months later you're not compatible, and it breaks your heart, and it takes a year and a half to recover. You wasted 3 years of your life by then, or 2.5, and now you have to start again. But not knowing on all of this works, in the end, it's sort of disparaging. And women this is my opinion, because I don't have real data on this, but I think for most women, they can't go beyond 5 heartbreaks and they just quit. They quit. They can't trust their hearts. They thought this was the guy. He thought he was the right, and it turned out to be narcissistic. Because there's a reason for that polarity, there's a reason why we attract what we attract. which is part of the work, right? Psychological work. So if you keep attracting douchebag, it's not men that are douchebag, it's you attracting douchebags. Same with men who attract difficult women. You know what I mean? I attracted sweet women. I don't know why. So it was interesting. That whole dance, nobody understands. For what I see for women, like 5 big heartbreaks, quit. You can't trust me. I'm not doing that again. All right. They get a couple of cats and they kind of like pull out completely. You could see them out there on the street. You could see them, both men and women, when they're isolated or give up on life and relationships, they kind of wilt. They wilt like a flower without water. And for women, they're odd. For men, they're odd in a different way. They kind of scare the children energetically. They're so weird, right? Like, so, because we're not meant to be isolated. We're not meant to live alone. We're meant to be pair bonded. That's nature. Every aspect of nature is that. So when people say, I'm done with relationships, I go, oh, that's so cute, right? And 3 months later, this guy can buy work. He's really cute. In my head, here we go again, right? But if you fall in love and get your heart broken more than 5 times, most women will give up. Not all. There's no such thing. For men, it's usually one heartbreak. They don't recover.
Wow.
Sometimes 2. Just like,
How can a man encourage a woman to step into her more feminine energy? And how can a woman encourage her man to step into his masculine energy?
oh, that's a loaded question. Oy. So, but I'll take one at a time. So, a woman can slip into her feminine when she feels safe.
Mm.
Period. So, this is what I found out. The reason why I had no problem that I attracted sweet women, it's not that I attracted sweet women, is because, and I found that out later, years later, in being in the work. Apparently, to be with me makes women feel safe. I don't know how. I'm not sure, but I can tell you I'm very attentive. I look people in the eyes, and I do this with everybody, men and women. And then, so if a woman doesn't feel safe, she has to man up. She has to protect herself. She has to be on guard. She has to be, like protected. And so I tell men, you have to be her safety. And by the way, women there's 4 layers of safety that you need to have to be able to step into your feminine. 4 layers of safety. We as men don't have any of this. We don't understand safety. We don't have safety issues. We don't run to the car in the dark. We're not afraid of staircases, elevators, and parking lots. We're not, ever. So we have no idea that you're never without it. And thus, we scare the shit out of you not knowing. We hurt your feelings not knowing. Because there's not even a little bit of awareness in that. So I have to teach men about women and their awareness of safety at all times. Physical safety, emotional safety, financial safety, spiritual safety. These, all 4 are essential for a girl to go, how you doing? Right? And to get into your feminine softness, your feminine flow, your de-stress, your body relaxes, which is, by the way, a magnet for us to get closer. And that energy, that warmth, that glow that is to be feminine. And when you're good, I'm good. When you're happy, I'm happy. Right? So this is what men pride themselves in, taking care of women, providing, protecting, cherishing, loving, giving, right? Because when you're good, I'm good. So that's instinctual, by the way. You don't have to manipulate men to do this. But if you ask, so if men have to understand safety for women, so she can relax and be the loveliness that he wants her to be, right? So for ladies, if the man has been culturally pushed out of being masculine, this is everywhere, right? Be a sweet guy, nice, sensitive, talkative, show you vulnerabilities. That doesn't work. Right? That doesn't work because women, the guy will appear weak, and if the guy appears weak, how's she going to feel safe with him? Right? She's stronger than he is. Friend zoned. Do you know what I mean? So for women, I say, well, we have a hero default in us. We want to be your heroes. This is just instinctual again. We all have it. You see little boys with their mothers and wanted to just like, it's actually cute. It's adorable. We're born with it. We're born with it. We want to be heroes. We don't need to be heroes to men. We don't need to protect men. We don't need crap about men's happiness. That's his job. But the women around me, that's my responsibility. That's where I'm focused. That's what it, right? So that's instinctual. For men who have been shamed out of their masculinity, I teach them to step back into it. But the way a woman can help, are you ready? This is so simple. So simple. Ask for his help.
Mm.
Ask a man for help. Even if he's soft a little bit, you're going to trigger that instinct to fix, because we're neurotic fixers, to provide whatever it is you're asking for. And on the other side, you thank me for it. Hero, you'll see his chest puff out. You'll see a visceral change. And when you ask a man to help you and you thank him for it, thank you so much. You're such a gentleman. You're welcome. Anything else? No, thank you. That's great. You know, your girlfriend's a lucky girl. Oh. Like, right? You'll see him puff up. So get this. This is a superpower you have, by the way. It's that by asking for help and allowing him to provide what he provides, you make a man, us, feel more like men because of you. How's that for power? It's not weak. It's not passive. It's not lame. It's not, we're not going to judge you for it. You do, but we're not. For us, exact opposite. You pull the hero in me, and I feel more like a man because you allow me to help you in any way that a man can help. That's some stuff, right? That's some power, ladies. And I always say, your femininity is your superpower. For that reason, I know how it works. I'm a man. I receive that, and it changes me. A smile from a woman at the store. Good morning. Ooh, makes my day. Right? And we're all like that. We're all like that. But we can't really explain it. We just respond to it. We really connect to it in a way that you can't imagine.
Wow. That's really great advice. I really like how you went into how important safety is, like how important it is for us females to feel safe around a man in order to really step into that feminine energy. So thank you for sharing that. What is the number one thing that kills intimacy?
Disrespect for man and lack of feeling cherished for a woman. Period. So we both as people, we've got somebody like, do you want to be loved? Do you want to be loved more or respected more? I want both. Everybody wants both. We both want to be loved and respected, right? As human beings, as people. You want to be cherished and respected. However, they come backwards for men and women. Let me explain. As a woman, if you don't respect the man, if you don't respect the man, he can't fall in love with you. You just can't. The problem is the same way that we hurt your feelings that we don't know, you disrespect us all the time without knowing. Because we disrespect us, we not disrespect you. So you have a blind spot. So you constantly disrespect us. And if you don't learn about that, right, no man can fall in love with you. Bossy, combative, talking back, challenging him, pushing on him, questioning him, disrespect. He's like, yeah, enough for her. Looking for a respectful woman. So we're highly attuned to this. The same way that you're highly attuned to getting your feelings hurt, but we don't know we're doing it to each other. That's part of the work, right? So, the question, a woman has to respect her man first for him to actually attach to her and love her. You can't fall in love if she doesn't feel respected. On the other side, it's just the same. If a man doesn't cherish his woman, she can't respect him. You see it? So we both need it, but it comes backwards. The mechanism is backwards. But when you get it, it makes so much sense. It's so easy. It's a natural flow. That's what I'm teaching. Everything I'm teaching is nature, not my opinion. And it's the work and the research.
That's really great advice because it just also goes back to the simple things that we forget about a lot of times. And that just goes back to respecting each other and really understanding what that person is like. I understand everybody's different, but we all value similar things, respect, and that's really great. What will make a man want to commit versus what makes a man not want to commit?
In my world, there's 4 types of men. And there's one type of man, neurotically, genetically broken, who will never commit, doesn't want to commit, is not interested in taking care of you, doesn't want to pay for you, doesn't want to have you babies, doesn't want any responsibility. I call them boys. Those are boys. These are grown men who refuse to be grown men. They typically don't have father role models. They don't know how to be men. And also typically have been raised by a woman who raised them to be sweet and sensitive and live through his feelings like a woman, which is unnatural for men. They end up concluding that women are here to serve them like mom did, or would cuddle him. These guys are boys. They don't want to do anything. They're completely broken. They're called ego dystonic. Their masculine bodies living in the feminine energy. Right? On the other side of that, feminine bodies as women leading lives through masculine energy, which is everywhere in our culture. That's ego dystonic. That's what doesn't work. That's the trauma injury, right? Boys you have to avoid at all costs. It's one of the first things I teach my clients about. I differentiate boys, guys, men, and gentlemen. But the only one that's dangerous is the boys. The one that we have to avoid at all costs is boys. However, if you're in your masculine energy, because everyone is nowadays, because you have to be boss and work and go girl, right? That's good to a point, but if you get stuck in that energy that is masculine, are you ready? This is nature just paying you back for not paying attention. If you're a masculine woman, you will attract a feminine man. A masculine man will find you irritating, disrespectful, combative, challenging, disagreeable, non-cooperative. So what nature does, by the way, again, back to nature, everything in nature is polarized. Everything that grows and multiplies is polarized in every aspect of life on the planet. There's a masculine and feminine, there's a yin yang, there's a positive magnet, negative magnet, there's black and white. Like one cannot exist without the other. So nature has it that if you're ego dystonic as a woman, you're masculine, you would only, it's that joke, but only attract feminine men. And then you'll think that's men. And you start saying men are all, they're all, and you can't, and they're cheaters and liars. No, boys are, not men. But men don't do any of that. Okay, huge revelation. So that's essential to find out. Boys, guys are kind of stuck somewhere in the middle. Men are just men. Those are the ones who do everything right. Build lives and careers and conquer their fears and build companies, make money, get successful. And those guys want families and children, their legacy, build a kingdom, put their arms around and go, look what I did. There's a huge amount of pride for that in men. And that's a normal male. A gentleman is a bit older, typically. You could be a gentleman younger if you had a father to teach you to be a gentleman. But it's kind of a natural progression into, as men soften up when they're a little bit older, they get gentlemanly. They're kinder, they're softer, they're more aware of the feminine in a different way as they slow down. So it's kind of a beautiful thing. But some guys in our culture, like about a third of men are stuck in boyhood because it was shamed down to be masculine and did have no daddy role model and over cuddle. The rest of them, about 70% of them are mixed between guys who are soft men and don't know how to date women because they don't want to be toxic. So they don't ask you out. They don't make plans. They say stuff like, so am I going to see this weekend? So, where do you want to go eat? So, what movie do you want to go see? And so, are we cool for tomorrow? Like they put it on you. They're thinking they're being polite and respectful because they were taught to never assert yourself on a woman, you toxic beast. So they just do this. But women hate it. Women absolutely hate it because if he's going to put it on you, it keeps you or throws you back into your masculine. And I always say to the guys, I teach them this. I'm like, if you want a girl on your arm Saturday night, make the freaking plan, you noodle. Like make the plan, and that's flattering to a woman. And don't ask her, like all the questions to put her in decision mode, right? Find out if you're smart, what she likes. You know what she likes. She'll throw it out there. Just talking to her, you can even ask, before whatever you plan, what she prefers, just as information, and go freaking make it happen, right? Present that to a girl, right? With my wife, it's to a point now that I don't even have to tell her. I don't even tell her where we go. Like, I make the plans and I say, okay, babe, tomorrow night, 6:30 by the car, wear something slinky and girly, right? Bring your salsa shoes, by the way, and then I give it the level of fanciness, casual, medium, fancy, depending on where I plan, right? I say nothing else. The time, What to bring? Salsa shoes because we're salsa dancers. Oh, she knows what that is. Hair up. Oh, fancy evening. All excited. Goes, gets ready. Doesn't care where we're going. Does not care. She knows I'm going to take her something cool. So I make the plan. I present the plan. And, I ask her how she feels about the plan. So if she needs adjustment, I'll adjust it. But I make the plan. You understand? And that makes her feel like a girl. She can relax and do. That's how you bring my woman to, because she works too. So sometimes I need to ease her back into her feminine out of the working day. How you like that?
I love everything that you just said because I remember when I was in my last relationship, it was exactly what you explained, the first one, the boy, and I had to be the one that had to step up and play that role. And it's tiring because once you get out of that, I'm already like being a type A kind of person in my career. I don't want to be that type A person in the relationship. Those are two totally different things. I really appreciate you explaining those things. So before we go ahead and wrap things up, is there any sort of advice that you'd like to share with the audience that we haven't covered or something that's on your mind to share?
Oh, there's like 6,000 topics we could develop. We could do this once a day for months and never touch the same base. So there's a lot of detail. However, it's easy to teach and it's easy to sort of wrangle together, right? That's the work that I do. I have programs and kind of teach all these little pieces, have you practice them, and then, and all of a sudden reality changes because now you understand yourself, you understand man, you understand the magnet, nature, science, psychology, chemistry. But one of the things that it's very interesting, 10 years ago or so, people came at me with the confusion between men and women. The collision was always, he gives me the one answer. He's cold, doesn't talk to me. And he's like, she's freaking crazy. Right? That was always like the go-to. Like, she makes no sense. That's not what I said. That's not what I meant. I don't know where she goes there. The hell, what's wrong with her? She's crazy. And for her, it's like, he doesn't talk. He doesn't share his life. He doesn't, right? We been a woman insecure. I get it. So it was always that man-woman difference that was present in most of the calls that I got. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, through the roof, what's coming at me now is masculine women who are now 30, 35 years old, realize that they've been sold a lemon by their feminist agenda. They don't want to work so hard. They don't want to be 60-hour weeks. They realize their degree, their master's, their job, their career, their business doesn't make them happy because at the core, if you're normal, you're a woman. And what makes women happy is not career and money, even though there's a layer of safety in that. But what makes women happy is the quality of the relationships all around them. And the need to have family around you and good neighbors and good friends. And, even with every connection, when a woman's connections and relationships are good and healthy, she feels safe and supported in community and in the world. Loveliness is present. So women in our culture get pushed into boss babe idea and safety, but it's only financial safety. That means you have 3 missing. You're not going to be balanced. You're not going to be attractive to men. Magnetism is gone, right? And then you wake up 30, 35 going, okay, wait, what? Okay, wait, what? I don't want this. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. By the way, chemically, you don't have the chemistry to sustain being competitive like a man because you don't have the fuel. We have testosterone that is a jet fuel to have us compete in the world and fight and conquer and demolish and feel good about it. You don't have that chemistry. So you conquer the world on adrenaline, which eventually kills you, gives you chronic fatigue syndromes 20 years later, and opens you up to all kinds of disease. Again, this is not sexy, right? Remember I taught this to my assistant the first time. She's like, I don't like this. That's not right. I go, blame God. That's not, I'm just reporting what is. It's nature. The way I compare it is that ladies in our culture right now who are, made to compete like men, fight like men, push like men, make money like men, but don't have the physiology and chemistry to really compete that way, right? I compare it to, are you familiar with Formula One cars? It's the car with one guy and the 4 wheels and they go like 400 miles an hour, right? Formula One cars. These cars are propelled by jet fuel, right? So this is men at work. This is men competing in the work. They have the fuel for a long, long time, chemically, physically wired for competing and pushing, right? So what we encourage women is to jump into the race, which is great, except you jump into the race Formula One cars with your 4-cylinder Toyota Camry, and you're going to hit the pedal to the metal, and you're going to go quite a few rounds until the engine blows out. And this is what I see all around me. Women are exploding, getting sick, all kinds of disease, all kinds of internal problem, because we now know that 20, 25 years in adrenaline burnout or getting your energy from adrenaline itself is acidic and actually burns your body from the inside. It opens you up to diseases and cancers of all kinds. It's crazy. The more stressful the job is, the faster the one burns out. Women brain surgeons explode at 40. Women in the financial world supercomputer blow up at 40. Blowout, can't work anymore. Just completely collapse. Burnout, the engine is burnt out. That's nature, right? So my advice here to both ladies and gentlemen, be careful what you buy into, right? If you want to be a boss, sure, but understand there might be a price to pay if you don't change gear or calibrate it or do it gently. There's a way to have it all, but not the way the culture teaches it, right? And for the man the hell up. Stop being shamed of being masculine. Masculinity is not toxic. It's the lack of masculinity that makes men toxic. Men who are not masculine are erratic, emotional, unstable financially, emotionally, right? Those are the guys who hurt, kill, steal, rob, con, scam. Not men. Men do the exact opposite. Boys will do all that stuff. Every dude in jail is a boy. So know how to avoid them. And it's easy, really. Honestly, you just have to learn. Whew. So think for yourself is what I'm saying. Forget what the culture says. Forget what your mother who chose poorly said. Forget your feminist teachers. Forget your girlfriend who knows nothing about man. My assistant wants to be a traditional woman. She wants 3 kids. And she can't really say that out loud in Los Angeles. They attack her. So she stopped even saying it, even though that's what she wants. Right? So forget the culture. Forget your friends. Forget your sisterhood. If you want to be boss babe, go for it. You know, you go, girl. I'm proud of you. Right? But it may cost you harshly in the second half of life. This is what people don't think about. There's a second half of life that is miserable alone, that is miserable without relationship, that is miserable without offsprings, that is miserable. Nobody's thinking about that until it's too late. So think for yourselves. You want to be a boss, be a boss. But if you want traditional values, eliminate the people around you who are toxic, and find yourself a tribe of women, like-minded women. Same with a man. Learn to man up. There's a lot of men's where I do a lot of men's group work where we teach young men who have been shamed out of being masculine to step back into their bodies and kind of, get productive out there, both financially and with the ladies. It's recalibrating back to what works naturally better with a modern twist. These are modern days, right? So that's my message. Think for yourself and surround yourself with like-minded people, so you don't end up fighting the system and fighting everything that comes at you. It's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. So that's my advice.
It's been very insightful and very helpful. Thank you for sharing all of that and also your experience and your journey. So can you please tell us, where can people find you and where can they support you?
Absolutely. So I'm on the social media platform. I also have 2 guest listeners, but that's okay. So if you go to projectequinox.net, that's my website, you find all the links to everything. I do a lot of podcasts, so you could actually listen to me all over the place forever. But this blogs on this website is, everything is on there. You can spend the day there if you want. When you said in the beginning, my mission is to spread this to the masses. So that's why I do a lot of podcasts, because because of you and your help, you help me spread the word. There is hope, ladies. There is hope, gentlemen. We can actually have healthy, beautiful, long-term relationships in this culture. We have to reframe what's been taught to us and be very mindful of it and learn that men aren't toxic and that women, the whole dance, right? Like what works better. So anyway, as I'm doing podcasts, trying to spread the word, I used to have my own podcast, and I noticed that there's 2 type of listeners that show up in these things, which is interesting. So, and I let the audience kind of self-identify. So the first type of people who come to podcasts listening typically are people like, well, what is this masculine, feminine? What, it's, I don't, and they're starting to poke around at the information. Like they're kind of beginners, sort of researchers, right? They're looking for information because they realize they're missing something. So if you're a information seeker, this is for the ladies. I'll send you directly to my email. If you go to Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail, AndreCoaching, coaching, number one at Gmail, and in the subject box, if you just write "irresistible book," I will send you a copy of my digital book. It's a workbook. You get to fill it out. It's a workbook, and it's called, are you ready? The 5 Feminine Qualities Masculine Men, high value men find absolutely irresistible. This is my work with men. This is men speaking, ladies. You want this. I sell it on my website. I'll give it to you if you just email me. And I guess it's a workbook, and this is the stuff that you're blind to. What men find irresistible, that's not your butt or your hair color or your height or your job or your master's degrees. This it's none of that. It's energetically how you show up and how you pull them into his manhood. Information seekers, Audio Coaching 1, irresistible book. For the other listeners, what I noticed is other listeners, like I think you had a couple of aha moments that was speaking. I saw your eyes go, whoop, whoop, right? It's like, because it resonates. It kind of like resonates like, oh, that's what that was. That's what's happening. That's what happened here. That's what happened with him. That's right. So if something resonated and you're an action taker, I want to say, I love action takers, Andre Coaching 1, and in the subject box, write talk now. Talk now. I'll send you my calendar link. You book yourself a time that works for you, that's open on my side, and we'll have a conversation like you and I are having one-on-one. It's an hour plus, but in that conversation, we'll talk about, because people call usually when they find themselves in a loop, like they're stuck in the loop, different relationship, same result, always the same type of person, right? And realize this is when people go, I need some help. This happened to me when I was younger. It was the same thing. What, I guess I moved cities 3 times thinking I was going to rebuild my life, but every time I would start the same cycle, and I realized, oh, it's me. It's not them, it's me, right? So people call it typically when they're stuck in the cycle, they don't know what's going on. So with that, we'll decode while you're in the loop, 15 minutes, really good at it. And then we'll talk about, if we know where the wheels came off, it's always in childhood, it's fixable. That's the work that I do. We do like really, trauma release work, right? So it's fixable. So if you're not broken, really, it's just you're a product of your past, and we can fix it. If we did, what's the dream life? Babies, husband, long-term relationships, depending on your age, right? What's the dream? And then we'll talk about if the ways you can jump in and work with me in a bunch of different ways. But that call alone for some people that just change their lives because they realize they're not broken. They're just a product of their past that we forgot. And that's like when the subconscious drives you, we're kind of asleep to it. And there's the loop. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Always, always the same result. Subconscious. It's the trauma from your past that's haunting you, and you don't even know. It's kind of cool because it's easy to fix, right? That's my invitation. If you want the book and a coaching call, do both. If you want to ask me a question, as you email me, right down below, ask me a question. Tell me I'm full of crap, but I'm not. Challenge me. I'll back it up. This is not my opinion against all the research. But yeah, come at me. I mean, again, my mission is to spread this to the masses. And the more people wake up to this, the more is going to move. The movement's going to open up and eventually do something really, really large, because I can tell it's coming. So thank you for helping me inspire and spread this out to the folks out there who are seeking and searching and confused. They don't need to be.
Wow. Thank you so much, Andre. It's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you for joining us today. I'll have all your links linked down in the show notes below so people can stay in touch and get in contact with you if they choose to. Thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My pleasure.